On Thursday the 15th of May we took the early train to London. Crossing London by tube and Docklands Light Railway, we made our way to London City Airport. At London City Airport we boarded our flight to Florence, Italy. On arrival in Florence Airport we collected our bags and walked across the road to catch the nearby tram, which took us to the main Santa Maria Novella train station. At Florence Station we boarded the train for the 1 hour 40-minute run to Siena, our destination for the next 4 days. On arrival at Siena Station we couldn't see any taxis, so as Google said our hotel was just a few hundred meters away, we decided to walk. At first we went up a steep hill, which unfortunately turned out to be the wrong road and had to turn around. We then found the right road, which we'd mistaken for the entrance to a Co-op supermarket. This road also went up a steep hill, and by the time we eventually reached our hotel, pulling all of our bags behind us, we were exhausted. After checking in, we rested in our room for a while, although we were briefly disturbed by torrential rain and the loudest crack of thunder we'd ever heard. That evening we had a meal of cold cuts and some drinks in our hotel. The following morning we set out to have a look around Siena. As most of the town was set up on a hill on the opposite side of the railway, we decided to make our way to a bus station we'd seen the previous day in the hope of getting a bus into the town. Walking down from our hotel, we stopped off at the cafe inside the supermarket for some breakfast. After breakfast we walked to the bus station, but could not work out if and from where there was a bus into town. Fortunately, some English-speaking locals explained to us that there was a far easier way, which involved the walkway on the right of the picture to cross under the railway station.
Here we are at Siena Station in Italy, and we're about to show you how the Italians managed to get from down here in the station up to the old town, which is a couple of hundred foot up. So I'll show you how.
Crossing the road from the station, there is a shopping centre with an escalator, which goes up and up and up.
And here we are at the top, right next to the town level.
There was also a fantastic view from the top. From the top of the escalator, and after several failed attempts to navigate the local buses, we eventually made our way into the centre of Siena. And this is the stunning Piazza del Campo right in the centre of Siena. Afterwards we stopped in a gelateria for something else Italy is famous for, its ice cream. We then made our way back to our hotel. After a snooze we got ready to go out for my birthday meal, which Tina had booked some time ago. We got a taxi to the restaurant, but still had time to stop off for some aperitifs first. And this was the rather unassuming entrance to our restaurant for the evening, the Gallo Nero, which translates as the Black Rooster. The interior was an old vaulted room, but with modern furniture. And despite this photo, I was happy, honestly. We enjoyed a very good 7-course tasting menu, along with some very nice wine pairings. The following morning, Saturday, we had breakfast in the Co-op Cafe again, before ascending the escalators once more. We walked towards the old town, stopping here at the Bar Imperio for a drink. Returning to our hotel, we had a walk around the gardens, and Tina was very keen to try out the swimming pool. I did get in, but it was too cool for my liking. That evening we returned to the old town and had dinner here at the Osteria Camoglia. One of the main reasons that we booked this trip was to ride the Treno Natura, a steam train that does several trips a year around Tuscany. Tina had booked us up on a trip to the small town of Torrenieri, so on Sunday morning we arrived early at Siena station, where a large crowd had already gathered to board the train. We travelled through the beautiful Tuscan countryside for about an hour before the train made its first stop at the small station of Monte Antico to take on water. As you can hear, the train had a small band travelling along with it. Just after setting off from Monte Antico, they joined us in our carriage. Also on the train there were a number of people dressed in period costumes, doing magic tricks, and as we stepped off the train in Torrenieri, there they were on the platform. We had booked a lunch through the steam train company at a local hall. As we were rather early, we stopped off in a local cafe for some drinks. Arriving at the hall for lunch, we were seated on long tables. The Italian people beside us were very friendly and tried to make conversation with us, and we had a very nice lunch with wine to wash it down. We also got serenaded by the band. After lunch we made our way back to the train, via the same cafe that we visited on the way there. The trip back to Siena was rather subdued, due to a big lunch and probably about a bottle of wine each. Back in Siena we visited a local supermarket to get something to eat, and then spent the rest of our evening in our room packing ready to leave the following morning. The next morning we checked out of our hotel and pulled our cases back down the hill to the station, via the supermarket cafe for breakfast once more. At Siena station we boarded the train back to Florence for our final 48 hours in Italy. Arriving at Florence station we were taken aback by how busy it was. It was rather like being in a football crowd. And outside wasn't much better, as we tried to drag our luggage through the narrow streets with hordes of tourists, local cars, buses and e-bikes all competing for the same space. After about 20 minutes of dragging our cases through the crowds, we needed a rest and we stopped off at this cafe for a drink and a bite of lunch. After lunch we eventually made it to the apartment we had booked. Rather disappointingly, it was on the 3rd floor and had no lift. After a snooze and a freshen up, we headed out for the evening. Our first port of call was this nearby wine bar. While we were there, we checked reviews and found a promising looking place for dinner not too far away. And this is the place we found, the Cafe Italiano. Tuesday was our last full day in Florence and in Italy, so we decided rather than the long walks and pushing through the crowds that we would jump on a hop-on, hop-off sightseeing bus. We walked to the nearest stop, then spotted a cafe that looked ideal for breakfast. And indeed the Vespa Cafe was very good for breakfasts and brunches. After breakfast, we hopped on the sightseeing bus for the first of 2 different routes around the city. From the top of the bus, the Piazza Michelangelo has some wonderful views across the city. Of course, the sightseeing bus wasn't immune to the Florentine traffic. but we did get some lovely views of the city. In the afternoon we jumped on the second tour route, which included climbing the hill to the small town of Fiesole, where the Medici family had a villa to escape the hustle and bustle of the city. Coming back down from Fiesole, we caught glimpses of yet another spectacular panorama over Florence. Returning to our apartment, we had a snooze and then got ready to go out for our final Italian evening. And this was our venue for the evening, the Il Latini restaurant. Tina had booked us into Il Latini before we left the UK. It has a reputation for very good authentic Tuscan food. One thing we were surprised at was the crowd which had assembled at opening time, as everyone seemed to be let in at the same time. Inside was a maze of rooms with large haunches of air-dried beef hanging from the ceiling. Tina had pre-ordered us a 7-course menu, including steak, and the courses started to arrive. We were enjoying the meal, and then this bad boy arrived. A huge piece of rare steak, enough to feed 4 people easily. We did our best, but I'm afraid we were defeated and couldn't eat any more. Stuffed full, we climbed into a taxi and made our way back to the apartment. The next morning we packed our cases and made our way back to the Vespa Cafe for some breakfast cum brunch. After eating, we made our way to a nearby taxi rank, where we took a taxi back to the station. From there we caught the tram back to the airport and bid farewell to Tuscany.